Okay, let's take a look at the image. All right, so let's take a look at the image. How many cookies do we have total, first of all, guys? 12.
My name is Raul Sanchez, and I'm a third grade teacher at Lincoln Elementary. So a little bit on my background. I'm first generation Mexican American. I was born in Los Angeles, California, in South Central. Both my parents were immigrants that immigrated from Mexico. My mother didn't make it past the 6th grade. My dad didn't make it past junior high and 8th grade. My parents lived in a little garage, and they worked their way up just a little bit and moved to apartment complexes in Pomona, California, where I had my first educational experience, an immersion type preschool. And I had some outstanding teachers, but my most impactful, I think, moment in education was probably my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Gain, and probably the reason why I'm teaching 3rd grade now. I appreciate everything she came with when she came into the classroom, because she always had this exciting personality. But I really do remember her not only treating me as a student, but treating me as the child that I was, and letting me make those mistakes and saying it's okay, you don't have to be perfect, was something I had not heard before, and really made me cherish that 3rd grade classroom growing up. And so I moved to Utah when I was 14. And I went to Syracuse Junior, graduated from Layton High. And I remember graduating from high school as such a huge experience, because I am the first in my family, immediate family, to graduate from high school, and the first in most of my extended family to graduate from high school. So I ended up graduating in 2015 with my bachelor's in elementary education, K through 6. I toured a lot of schools during my student teaching. I went to Hillfield Elementary, Crestview, quite a few, but something about Lincoln grabbed me in, and it was definitely the amount of diversity that we have here at Lincoln. It's this little pocket of something that I saw a lot in California and what I was used to, and it drew me in, and I've been here this is my 6th year. So growing up, there was always a large expectation on education, even though my parents didn't get to have that opportunity. I think it was because they didn't get to have that opportunity that they wanted it so badly for us. And they were here my first day. They were helping me set up my classroom, and my mom still has that picture on her phone of when on my desk setting up a couple of things. And it was an awesome experience having them there up until when the bell rang and they head out. I have this very deep love for superheroes, especially Marvel characters, and my favorite Marvel character is Spider-Man. He had these extraordinary abilities, and even with those extraordinary abilities, he still had those financial problems at home with his aunt. He still had to deal with issues at school. He still had to deal with all these other types of personal issues, and I've had to deal through all those issues growing up, and I've had those issues in my life, and so it was always the character I gravitated towards. I've been incorporating comic books into our writing and reading curriculum. So even my kids that aren't the most intrigued by superheroes, they're like, okay, they're all right. They really want to inject themselves into it. And I think having that intrinsic motivation for them has been really good in that different form that they might not get very often. I think the way that I've adapted to having masks in the classroom, because it is super difficult, sometimes I can't tell if my students are upset or worried or any of those feelings that you can just see on a student's face. And I've tried to be as animated as possible, like using my hands. And so I think it's really helped, because at the beginning of the year, the students had a hard time kind of adjusting to that period. They didn't really want to talk to each other. There was that fear looming over the whole classroom, and that's been the biggest adaptation, is just being a little bit more animated in the classroom, and I think they appreciate it. I think the reason why I teach, I think there's several reasons. I think there's several moments that I've hit through. Being able to see that growth in that student that didn't have that confidence and didn't think that they can do it, and they come out of my class feeling like they can do it. Or when I get a student that is having all these issues at home in ways that I can't even explain, and things that I can only even comprehend to a point, because yes, I've had my hardships, but I think certain students have had some even more difficult times, whether it's not having their parents at home or having to deal with addiction at home. and them coming to me and feeling open and feeling free and feeling like they can be themselves here and knowing that they have a safe space. I think those are the moments where I see this is why I teach. I know that I have to be here. I know that I need to be I am that person for them at this moment, and I need to continue being that person for those little kids that are going to come through my classroom, and so they can see that they can achieve higher expectations, that it doesn't have to be the same as it might be in their homes, and continue that circle and know that he's the first person who's gone to school. I mean, they get to see my little biography beforehand. Mr. Sanchez is the first individual in his family to go to school and graduate. Maybe I can do something like that, and seeing it and not just hearing about it. I'm Raul Sanchez and I teach.